Get everything out of the way. Is it perfectly straight?
Yeah, absolutely.
From this angle it is.
Yeah, we'll say the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes and agenda as presented.
I'll second that.
Motion from Bruno, second from Sender, to approve the minutes and agenda. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
9 a.m. Crystal, is that how you can? Percy, of Iowa Works to discuss with possible action Home Base Iowa.
So I brought Crystal here. We went to Worth County a couple weeks ago and she'll discuss the program. We don't have to decide anything today, and then maybe we can talk about it at the exec board meeting for Winworth-Becko. And then anything that the county wants to decide to do can maybe be a Winworth-Becko budget line item. But I'll let her discuss, and then if you have any questions.
So I kind of brought some handouts to let you know what Home Base Iowa is. So Home Base Iowa is basically a way for businesses to recruit veterans, and for you as well. And then on November of 2019, we also added that you can recruit the spouses. So we know that our military is one of our #1 workforce candidates around the area. So what we have done is we have asked businesses at no charge to become Home Base Iowa businesses. All that means is they're veteran friendly, they're veteran priority of service. All Iowa Works for American Job Centers, we have priority of service. So with our new software update, whenever somebody posts a job with us, it automatically goes to a 24-hour veteran hold where only our veterans can see the job for the first 24 hours and then opens to the general public. So we really do a lot to promote our veterans. And then we also know the trailing spouses with the veterans is a big concern, finding them jobs, employment when they're transitioning and moving with their husbands or wives outside of the military as well. So we added that in November of 2019. The state of Iowa has an incentive package for veterans to relocate here. There's tax incentives, there's housing incentives. So regardless of what county in Iowa they decide to move, they qualify for that state incentive package. But each county we've asked to become Home Base Iowa counties. And what we're asking of the counties is to offer some sort of incentive package for veterans to relocate here. It doesn't have to be anything that includes housing or anything like that. It can be as simple as a free membership to the YMCA, gift certificates, any sort of incentive package that you have. Very similar to you guys would be Franklin County is a Home Base Iowa county right now, so they're pretty equivalent to Winnebago's county in size, and they just offer some free memberships and perks. So it doesn't have to be anything over the top elaborate. And as I mentioned to Melissa, there are incentives that you can put. Sometimes they're grant funded, so you can put while budget allows, while funds allow, so that way you don't get over what you actually have as well too. So one of the investment parts is obviously the incentive package, but then you would also get signs. You'd work with the DOT to get the Home Base Iowa community signs across the county as well too, at your discretion wherever you would like. Everything that I gave you, the first copy is what I give to businesses to talk about Home Base Iowa and how they can utilize it. Everything else in there is kind of the amendum and the incentive template. All of that is already templated for you, so you can use that exact as is and just plug in what you would like.
Our Forest City, have they done anything yet?
I think before we go to the cities, we're So the state's already one, so now we want to make the county as one, and then I'll work with all the cities and make the cities
I didn't
one.
know if Port City had already done something.
It's in the works. Are you working with Beth too?
Yes, Beth is in discussion and wants to get it. Our goal was to first get Winnebago County first, but yes, she does have some budget as well with the
So
city.
that means if there's a veteran that moves to Fort City, they'll get the state package, the county package, and the city package.
And if they just move it in a rural area, it'd just be the county package.
Yep. The state and county. And it can be, I can put together what the Winnebago and Worth County can do for the Winworth-Becko budget. It doesn't have to be that much. And I know, like Hancock County, they do put a caveat in their package, and it says, while funding lasts for the year. So you don't all of a sudden have 10 people moving to your community.
Which would be great.
Yeah.
Right, we'll take them, especially if they have kids.
At this point, I think we just need good workers. Kids would be great along with it, but
Right. In Home Base Iowa, what we do, we travel outside of the state as well. Texas is one of our biggest recruitment areas that we pull a lot of veterans from. So Home Base Iowa goes to job fairs and veteran events as well too, to pull into Iowa. So they use the Home Base Iowa as one of the recruitment tools, but also one of the incentives to get people here along with the packages as well too. So there is also marketing outside of the state that we do, because we actually pull about 25% of the veterans that are on Home Base Iowa site or outside of Iowa right now.
Try and get all the cities in the county on board, is that it? Just
Start with the county first and then work to each city. So if there is something specific that you want us to include, we can take that and then I can do a proposal at our Winworth-Becko exec board meeting.
have they discussed it over at Worth?
They just they like the idea, but they're gonna discuss in detail at our exec board meeting. Unless the county wants to do something huge and come out of your guys' budget.
Is this a nationwide program?
No, this is only an Iowa program.
Only in Iowa.
Yep, this is only an Iowa program.
What are other states? Do they have any programs for their veterans like, kind of like this? They just don't call it this?
Similar, yes, they're all working on that. Obviously, the veteran population is a huge incentive. Typically, the states that have the better tax incentives tend to pull them a little bit better, but at different conferences and things. So every other state kind of has something similar, not to the capacity that what Iowa has right now.
How do they find out about it, the veterans?
We do a lot of promoting within the military branches themselves, as well as the job fairs and things that we host. Because we have like military-only job fairs across the country that we attend. And then there's also, we can go on site at military bases and things like that as well too, when they're having job fairs or transitioning out. We also attend like veterans conferences in Washington, D.C. as well too. So Home Base Iowa was focused there 2 years ago as well.
How long has this been going?
About 5 years.
How successful has it been?
As far as pulling veterans into the state, I can't give you exact numbers without running the data, but overall, I would say it's been we have a lot of success stories. I'd have to pull the exact numbers though, but yeah. Iowa tends to be, just because of our safety here, our schools here, we tend to do very well compared to other states just because of a lot of the benefits that we have, cost of living, things along that nature.
Say the cost of living is probably our biggest asset.
Mm-hmm.
But then you also have to explain to them, the jobs probably pay less here because of the cost
Right.
of living. And
Yeah.
you gotta equate that to the formula.
And we have somebody, when they post their resumes on Home Base Iowa, we have somebody that actually contacts them and has that discussion with them too. Obviously, what you make in Des Moines is not going to be what you make here, but again, we're also paying half the cost of living and things along that nature. So we also try to help them, because we know what they say in the military doesn't necessarily transfer over to civilians. So we try to help them with their resume, as well as, $100,000 sounds like a good pay, but you need to be a little bit more realistic. So we try to have that conversation as well.
Is
So are we looking to do something to date or anything? We're just
No.
informational until we get to our exec board meeting?
Yep. Unless you want me to follow up on specific and give me direction right now. I know, like, the state package, isn't it like a $5,000 relocation?
Yes,
assistance?
yep, yeah.
So then if the
Buy a home.
county wants to focus, I know, like, I could probably get a gift certificate to the grocery stores, something like that. You know,
What could the county do that's different than what the city will do? As far as like Forest City, because Forest City has the Y, Forest City has the big grocery store.
What is-
You know,
what does Hancock County do for, does they just do memberships, or doesn't she do like a $1,000 moving allowance?
Yeah, she has a $1,000 moving allowance, but that's what she puts the cap on while funds are available.
Okay.
Yep.
We can work with Beth and I can see what she has thought about. I know Forest City, because it has its own economic development, will probably do a little bit more than any of my other 14, 13 communities.
Yeah, and I know the YMCA membership was on discussion for sure for the city of Forest City.
Yeah, there's a lot of partnership there, so.
Wellness center in Buffalo, but it's only $50 a year anyways.
Well,
Doesn't have a
say
pool,
free
though.
membership.
Yeah, yeah. no,
Yeah.
still,
Buffalo Center.
I think the big difference is in the county package. So in Winnebago County, there's 3, 4 grocery stores. So if I can get a grocery store gift certificate and they move to Buffalo Center, but they have a Hy-Vee gift certificate. Whereas if they move to Forest City, she's probably only gonna get something in Forest City. You know what I mean? Yep, we can talk further at the board meeting. I just wanted Crystal to present to you as a
Yeah.
Some of
county
these
board.
things in here were the examples of what other counties do.
Yep, those are all the templates. And on Home Base Iowa website, you can actually click, because you'll be listed there as a county and all the incentive for every county is on there.
Oh,
So that way, when they're searching, they can see exactly what's on there. They can see the state package, and then they can go to Winnebago County, and they can see exactly what you offer. And then the city of Forest City, for instance, if they wanted to do their own thing, that would be underneath there as well. All right.
Where's the competition most fierce? Is it state to state or county to county against city?
Yeah, I can see where this could kind of gonna be a bit more, a little bit, I was thinking that myself.
You mean when veterans are trying to decide where to move to,
Yeah,
or?
right, yeah.
A lot of it is just the workforce, where the best jobs are. That's the biggest thing. Obviously, down in the Des Moines area, depending on what you want to get into, IT tends to be the growing field down that way. Healthcare up here in North Iowa, advanced manufacturing, we tend to lead the way there. So it just more depends what kind of field they're going into. There is some discussion because we do know there is a problem with the licensing when it comes for healthcare and the spouses, getting into nursing and stuff. They are looking at that legislation wise, but it'll probably be down the road before we get any movement there. But we are trying to overcome some of those barriers that we know that we struggle with when it comes to the workforce recruitment, because Iowa's licensing for healthcare is really good because, they're very strict, but it makes it very hard to transfer in then too for some nurses and doctors.
Well, I think I'll have to think about this before our next meeting.
Yep.
Come up with some ideas.
And I can send you what other companies in our area have done.
And we can kind of look through and make some starts and just-
All right. Well, thank you for your time.
Thank you. Consider for approval forming a census committee.
that must have been Carla thing, and I don't know. She's not here today,
Not here yet.
so,
Talk about
yeah, and so I don't know what the discussion has been.
I think it'd be the county census committee, and you were kind of involved with that a little bit. weren't you?
Yeah, we have declared Winworth Bucko as the Winnebago and Worth County Complete Count Committee. So we are working with all of the area libraries and doing a census event. The county, or the census committee, is basically a resource for the census workers. And so we're trying to get the word out to the individual cities and like mayors and city clerks and librarians that we're not there to do the census worker's job. We're just there to help them. If one of the guys walks into the city and says, I've knocked on this house 4 times, can you tell me about it? And then maybe she can look at the water bill and be like, well, that's abandoned or whatever. But we are doing a census events, and I know Forest City has agreed to do it, and it'll be sometime at the end of March, beginning of April. What that does is Lexi is bringing in the census. We get free stuff from the census guy, and then it's an incentive for somebody to come in and fill out their census form to self-enumerate, and then they get something free. So it's just an event kind of thing that we're doing, but we're also opening up our office to let anybody come in and use a computer to fill out their file. So that's as deep as we're getting. I'm not exactly sure. I can chat with Carla about what other needs a committee would need. But as far as the county as a whole, we've declared ourselves a complete count committee to bridge the gaps, because I know, doesn't Forest City already have one, a complete count committee?
They do.
Forest City, Buffalo Center, and Lake Mills, I think, are the 3 in Winnebago County that have one.
I think I might have indicated at the Windward Petco meeting that I'd be more than happy to help around the Thompson area for that count, because I own property there and have residents that are coming and going.
Yep.
How do you do that count?
How do I do the count?
How is the county done? Not aware.
The census workers will actually do it, but if they had any questions, like say one of Terry's residents is
How do they
never,
find out? How do you?
They've stopped at my facility already. There's a gal from, I think, Northwood that had come over to Thompson, and she did it, this was back in the fall maybe, when they first got going, and was just kind of assessing the area, getting to know the streets, what facilities are available, and she was just kind of sitting out front looking at the information that was available to her, and she was kind of lost. She was looking for a certain street, which didn't exist. And so I walked in, I got an old phone book, I handed her the map out of the phone book and said, here, you can just have the whole phone book. Every city street map is in that phone book. And her eyes went like this. This is wonderful. And then I explained a few things what we were doing there, that she'll be coming back to do an assessment there. I think everybody gets, most everybody gets something in the mail, don't they?
yeah, they will. It goes out March 15th. And that's why they declare April 1st Census Day, which is why Lexi is working with the libraries to do some sort of event.
And
Evidently never heard of Google Earth.
well, I can tell you a story about Google Earth. The pastor uses it all the time because he's from New York.
Oh, yeah.
And he left our church out in the country to go to Thompson's and Branding Iron for a wedding dance. And it took him straight west, which is all level B roads.
Huh.
Past your
Oh, yeah, it's not telling you what's open and closed.
So you can't trust Google Earth.
But as far as the city streets go, it's,
Yeah. But I think once they get that information out by mail, and there's going to be missing people there, because I've got a new resident coming in this month that we've got a new address and things like that. So there's going to be a lot of voids to fill.
The nice thing I like about it is the census is providing the free stuff. So it's just us actually doing it.
And for them, I think it's more cost effective and simpler if people can do it online rather than filling a hard copy.
And what information do we glean from this, from the census?
Not as much as they did back in the 1900s. Back then, have you ever looked at the old census information? It had all the information on there, where you came from and all that.
and their nationality and everything.
Yeah. Which was very valuable to me when I'm looking up ancestry and stuff like that, but you aren't going to be able to get that anymore.
You give them the mail, but if you don't fill them out, then they actually have someone come around.
Yeah.
To help you fill them out.
So if you fill them out yourself, then you can avoid that knock on your door.
Yeah.
And also that library event also will help those that either don't have internet or struggle with the internet.
I think it's already simplistic.
It's not as detailed as that other survey, which I thought was a census, and I filled it out, and it was about 5 pages long. They asked me if I bought a TV. That's not.
That's in
Actual
other
census.
years in between.
I thought I was done.
Should we have gotten these census by now?
No, I think they go out in 15.
Okay, all right.
So next week.
Something to do in your spare time.
It's gonna be important to us.
Yeah.
You gotta count everybody. Well, we'll wait for Carla to get back, see if there's anything we need to do.
Put it on the agenda again for next week then,
Yeah.
or are we gonna have to quarantine her? Okay. Tim has her way out. That was 75-30, is he?
Hello,
We're ready for you, Scott.
alrighty.
I don't have anything for drainage.
I don't need, auditor's office will not discuss drainage matters.
Well,
Oh, you got something?
the letter from Mark Kingman,
Oh,
we
Oh,
wanna discuss that at all?
oh, that's up to you. Yeah, sorry.
That and this one on 311. The information, it has to do with Scott, so
Oh, okay.
it's both subjects.
Gotcha.
the one where,
311, they're
Where
paying
is it?
14% of the,
Oh, I contacted Rick. He's gonna be looking into it.
okay. So we've done
Is
the
it-
classification on that, reclass on that, and
and that's just how much they were gonna pay on a specific repair.
No, that's what they owed for the reclassification.
The reclassification, they have a lot of, 3 is big, so there's a lot of miles in there, I suppose. Yeah,
He
and
wants
that
to-
was the first thing I thought of.
Yeah, he just wants to know more information, so I have contacted Rick on that.
Morning.
Morning.
I don't have too much. We got asphalt construction contracts signed by contractor and down to the DOT for their signature. Waiting on them, and we'll have that back shortly, I expect, and then we'll have a pre-con and know some more details on those projects, but still kind of waiting. That's about it.
Three 11, you sent the email out with, information on that, as far as,
Yeah,
and my first thought was this 3 is so big that there's a lot of miles of road ditch.
sure.
And even with the percentage of, that, it still seems high to you, is that it?
Yeah, so I talked to Chris about this, and we both can kind of working on Rick about it, but I wanted to share with you because I think it's kind of a big deal. But the way that it works, no matter how much area the district is, the amount of roads is still the same proportion, right? Because every time you add a mile, or a square mile, you add a mile on the north, a mile on the east, or
4 miles of
whatever.
road for every square mile, so
Right,
it should be,
right,
the
right.
percentage should be roughly about the same.
Right. So if you figure, 66-foot right-of-ways or 100, depending on where you are, about 2.5% of the area is what we have. So if you think maybe we get double the assessment rate because we have hard surface.
so
You might
the type of use is.
Yeah,
the biggest thing.
so yeah, you might get 4.5%, 5% at the most, you'd think. And most of the assessments that they have done, which I looked through a bunch of them, were right around there, except for that one. And those assessments don't tell you all the figuring that they do to get to those rates, so I have suspicion that there's some issue there. And so I just want them to show me so that we can make sure that it isn't an issue, and if it is, something we need to correct. So,
Mistakes can be made.
yeah, absolutely. We just need an answer on it, and I just wanted to share that with you because it's kind of getting to be drug out.
Now, the one that, you showed the example that was the worst case or whatever, and that one, the dredge ditch runs down, right down the ditch of the road for quite a while. So would that have,
Good question. I've never actually seen their calculations, so I'm not sure exactly what all goes into it. I know it's soils and different things, but I haven't ever seen what numbers they assign to those different soils.
how
And
far it was, but the dredge ditch goes at least a mile, if not more, right straight down it's the, I think the west ditch of the, well, it's the dredge ditch is the ditch. If you go in the ditch there, it's really a inconvenient spot.
yeah. So, I know, yeah, just something we need to get an answer to, I think. Other than that, I mean, it sheds light on the fact that our, just like everybody else, we've done a lot of projects, and so our drainage assessments are pretty high, and so of course I picked on the big one to make sure it's fair. And so now we're getting some better steps along the way and getting notices so we can check those earlier, which is what we, ideally would have done on this one, but I didn't catch it till we got our bill.
This one, I don't need to call it.
No, I've already called it, yeah,
As long as he gets back to us.
yeah. I did kind of overwhelm them last year with all the classifications that they have
Yeah.
and the projects that we've had that have had issues, and that's taken more time than what any of us thought, so.
Yeah, they're probably busy. Okay, anything else for secondary roads?
You want to discuss any on that sub-drainage that you sent?
The sub-drain stuff, we could. You had mentioned last week about sub-drains, and I thought we had more miles that had been sub-drained, but come out to like 30 miles that has been done over just kind of the recent past. The guys did a few in 9 and 10, and we sub-drained R34 north of Thompson here just with the last paving project, 30 miles. So I think that there's a lot of benefit to sub-drains, or can be. It's just a matter of what kind of extra pavement life we can get, and that's really the biggest question for me, because that's how you figure out if the benefit is worth the money.
All depends on what's underneath the road bed, what kind of material, how much moisture it holds naturally, or.
Yeah, I mean, that's part of it, and then, if it was rock put down in the 50s, it's probably not nice clean rock anymore. It could be, but a lot of times, the dirt will eventually just kind of soak into the pores and create a more of a sealed condition than a free draining condition.
So the projects we have for this year is not including sub-drain. If we were to try and do that, then it'd be totally our cost then.
Well, sub-drains can be done separately from paving without any issues.
Because they just go right along the edge and run the tile on both sides.
Right, just kind
So
of,
you could actually go in after a paving project and have that.
sure. And I think when we did the ones in 16, I think we did it maybe even this fall before. Trying to think of how that timeline went. But basically, it's like any trenching machine like you've seen electricians use or whatever, and then it's got kind of a pickup machine that loads it up as it goes. Or in our case, we had it kind of just spilled over the shoulder just to kind of, just get a little wider, I guess. But
I've seen them doing that on a lot of construction projects over the years, driving. And,
it's a
there must be a lot of information out there now, because some of this I was watching them do it back in the, early 2000s,
sure.
maybe even the 90s.
It's a slam dunk on, new construction or reconstruction when you take all the pavement out, you start from the very bottom, you pack the subgrade, you add 6 inches to a foot of rock and then subdrains along the edge. So if it rains, it just flushes to those subdrains and, gets out of there. So that's a no-brainer for any kind of new construction, I think.
But they must have some fairly good information somewhere on how much it adds to the life of the pavement. I would think somewhere, because they've been doing it for long enough now that, at least on the, like the interstate level and
Yeah.
state highway level, they've been doing it.
haven't seen any.
County roads, a little different. but,
Yeah. A lot of times what it comes down to is have the county engineers taken the time to document well enough to be able to transfer that to sort of conclusions and
See, they
something you can
probably get a lot
share.
of state and federal information. I don't know if they get a lot.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything like that, but,
And there's still variables involved.
right.
I look at how the state redid 69 and 9, and I wasn't impressed how, what they added on the sides kind of goes like this, and it cools water along the edge and creates a hydroplane. And I asked DOT about that, and he said, well, that's because everything else is packed in and nobody drives on that other part, so it tends to heave up a little bit, and I would think the subdrain would have taken care of any heaving up. But
Yeah, a little bit of a maintenance thing too, because, you know, everybody spills off the shoulder and those rocks kind of roll out to the edge, so there's always some maintenance that needs to be done too. That might be the case too, just guessing.
that's right where where they extended the paving, and it's like,
The paving's heaved. That's not good.
both on 60, I just noticed it north of Leland yesterday.
Hmm,
It's always been that way when you get on 9 heading west.
They wanted to put it back the way it was in the 60s. You know what our road, 69 and 69, looked like back then?
I
They
couldn't.
had a curve to it.
Oh, the Y.
Hmm.
We still call it the Y.
That narrow, darn thing too. Oh, yeah, Highway 9 was so darn narrow. Well,
I didn't have anything else.
all right. Consider the approval contract with B&B Farm Drainage on BD 18 Lot 11.
We want to discuss wetlands in Mon Valley.
Oh,
You want
well,
Mark's letter?
I guess
Is that, would that be something for drainage or open forum or?
Drainage. What's your thoughts on us paying for that road in that project?
Well, on one hand, I don't think it's a big cost, but on the other hand, Robert said he thought there was some funding available for some assistance there, and if it's not too constricting, I don't see any reason not to pursue that, assuming it all goes forward. We're meeting with the NRCS on Thursday just to kind of talk about that one spot and make sure it's the best case scenario if it all goes forward, so we'll look into all those options.
And I did talk to TJ last week, and he did get that letter that I sent him, and, well, that you sent. And he sent it on, so I just haven't had a response yet. But he fully agrees that anything that's done now and going forward will be taken care of. It's the stuff from the past that they'll have to work on to get that better.
To get their
Yeah.
maintenance.
But the maintenance going forward should be good.
Well, and if you have the ability to make it to where it's easy to check out now when you're in the prime, and this now, so it is easy for this stuff.
And if NRCS is willing to do that, then that's great.
NRCS or DNR.
And is
So
the
far.
NRCS doing the project?
This one, but I'm talking
Yeah.
about for any existing projects, it'd be nice to be able to go back and
Well,
kind of like we did up north of Dan Arnevex, where you put those inspection places in, and
yeah. Yeah, the ones are already set up, I don't know what you guys want to do with that, but
I don't suppose you can call it a repair to go in and put those in either.
Well, it's one of those things where we just have to deal with this, if
That's-
problems arise, I guess.
We can put an inspection in when we have a problem.
Probably consult, but it's not improving the drainage, so.
No,
but it's not a repair because the drainage is working. You just put in looking sides.
Well, could it be,
at a cost.
would
to
it be
the
called an
drainage
improvement? I mean, you're not improving,
Well, I'm
No, it's
not,
not an improvement.
yeah, I'm not
It's
just
not a
questioning
repair
the
either,
difference
it's
there.
just a,
It's a benefit.
Right.
It's a benefit to the district, but it's not a repair, so
And
until
do
you
the
have a
people in the
problem, you
district,
can't
do the
really put
district,
it in.
people in the district wanna pay for it before they need it, you know?
Yeah,
Because if it's there, you could head off some problems or catch them quicker, but otherwise, it may never be a problem, so then you dug a.
But anybody that's upstream from that area is gonna want it done, and they'll pay for it probably.
Yeah, no, they'd like to see that it's flowing.
I was just thinking more the technicality, it's not a repair. But, yeah,
nothing is broken.
right,
Yeah.
just deal with it as they come.
Okay.
And all we need is one person to complain, well, I don't think my drainage is working properly. Well, then we go out and we look
It's
at
time for
inspection.
inspection digging, and then when you're done with that, you leave a little tube sticking out.
Be one way to deal with it.
Well, it's not a problem for somebody to find that.
Well,
But
usually they're on
usually,
the
that
day
usually
and hour,
not,
so
yeah,
they're
I was
not.
just gonna say not in this case. Okay, anything more on that? Move on to number 7. Or no, we never did get to number 6. Consider for approval contract with B&B Farm Drainage on DD 18 lateral.
So I need signature and then there's 3 different books. And it's already been signed by the contractor. And it also has the notes to proceed.
Chris, do you have electronic copy of the construction plans?
No. It's just that maybe, okay.
there's a motion to approve the contract with B&B Farm Drainage on DD 18 lat 11.
I'll second the motion.
Motion Stelter and a second from Derby to approve the contract with B&B Farm Drainage on DD 18 lot 11. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Okay, now number 7, canvass the NIAC special election.
What was the overall, was it close to 80% or?
80% for it. Is there something signed on each one of these, or just on
Just the cover sheets,
just the cover sheets?
I believe.
All 3 of us got to sign it? Right here?
That is my understanding.
They just all sign on that first page.
Yeah, there's 2 separate ones. I think it's first and second, maybe.
There.
75%.
Yep, and then that second page. So there's 2 pages.
There's 2 pages
Yep.
on this?
Yeah,
There's nothing in these? and
No,
stuff?
no. There's a second. There's
Oh, yeah, that's right. Sorry.
That's okay.
Look at any of these?
No.
7244. I guess I'll make a motion to approve the camera system plan special election.
Second that. Motion from Derby and second from Stenzer to approve the canvas of the Nyack special election. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Thank you for your support.
Mm-hmm.
This was in my mailbox, I don't know why.
People keep putting your email box and I'll take care of it.
That was something we had to do.
Nope.
Sure don't. We'll just call that a hard mail fishing expedition.
There you go. Yeah. Yeah.
I talked to
Give it a rubber band.
Eric this morning, there was one of those fishing ones wanting me to change my password. And I hovered over the top and it says, the address, and said compromise something. It's like, and it didn't have Eric's name on it anywhere, so I'm like, I'm smarter than that. Today. Well, other than West Hancock didn't make it all the way, enjoyed your phone calling.
What happened to him?
Okay, well, wait, nothing else for open forum? We stand adjourned.